Hi everybody, welcome to the show. And today is 2025, June 27th. Today we're having a conversation with Jing Wei, who is the CEO of OSL Pay. Okay, so Jing Wei, let's go through your previous experience. Um, let's talk about your background and how did you tap into the crypto payment industry? How did all this happen?
Okay. Actually, I've spent around 20 years in financial sectors. So about 15 years in traditional banking, where I was responsible for building and optimizing core banking system across Asia, covering like market like Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and Japan, right? So, and I'm also a tech background previously. Then slowly, transform myself into my current role. So about 5 years ago, I start venture into crypto, and then started helping top tier exchanges establish compliance fiat framework, secure operating licenses, etc. So eventually, the fiat on and off ramp company that I founded got acquired by OSL Group and rebranded as the OSL Pay. Yeah, in short. Yeah. Mm-mm.
Yeah, so let's talk more about OSL Pay. What is the service that you are providing, and what are your target customers as for OSL Pay?
For the OSL Pay, typically we are, I mean, we being tagged as the on and off ramp providers. So what's the meaning of on and off ramp? Typically is to handling the fiat to crypto conversion, which is what we call the on ramp, and then off ramp will be from the crypto to the fiat, right? So and basically the business is to facilitate users to be seamlessly connect their traditional banking rail to facilitate them to actually buy the crypto asset using their banking rail. Okay, so the questions that you mentioned about the coverage, is it? You mentioned,
So
sorry.
you're more business facing instead of consumer facing. Is that correct?
Correct, correct. So our model is more to the B2B2C models. So typically we are working with the let's say for example exchanges, Web3 wallet, yeah, and some project basic, right? And now more and more scenario due to the so-called the pay-fi apps, right? So it's actually Web2 client is getting more and more involved, in the so-called Web3 sector right now. So that's why we are also playing a very important role here, to bring the Web3 so-called players, to get involved, and participate in the crypto world. Yeah, so there's more and more demand came in after, especially after the stablecoin act being released, from both US and Hong Kong side.
Yeah, so sounds like it's like infrastructure for all the stablecoin payment providers who are targeting, specific use cases, but they need the on-off ramp infrastructure. So they came to you, right?
Exactly, because you see, like our core value here is, like the layer of the on and off ramp is just the foundation of us, right? So on top of this foundation, there's a lot of so-called, very creative, kind of like let's say for some cross-border payment is also one of the layers that we are building because of there's a high demand came in even from the Web2 market saying that, how we could, conduct the cross-border payment using stablecoin. Then, yeah, then we are the one that, with the foundations that we have, with the very strong compliance on off-ramp solutions that we have, then on top of that, we are building pay-fi, layers to support, the Web2 market and also the Web3 markets.
Got you. So for the banks that you're working with, are they mostly located and regulated in Hong Kong? It's very like Hong Kong biased, or it's pretty spread out. You can
That is pretty spread
um
out. It's pretty spread out.
spread out.
Because I mean, our current core licenses, like from for the OSL Pay is actually based in Europe. So that's why we have to comply with the European regulations, and we are also applying for the MiCA application right now. Okay, so that we will be fully regulated, in European market. At the same time, we also partnering with various of player in different jurisdictions. So that's why we also have to be compliant in different jurisdictions. Like for example, even right now, under the OSL group itself, so we have acquired multiple licenses across the regions, right? So from there, we will tap on, with the licenses that the group level have, and then we will drill down and then working closely with the local regulators and build the framework together with them, and then fulfilling their requirements. And then this is something that then after that we offering the on and off ramp services, via the so-called green the blessing and also the green light, from the local regulators.
Right, right. So
Mm-mm.
for your business model, do you charge your users more of a transaction fee, or do you just charge them the foreign exchange markup? How did this work?
Basically, if I mean, when we offering the end-to-end payment rails, right? So because our model is quite straightforward, so we will be offering on the fiat side, because fiat side is also incurred uh the uh, the transaction fee itself, right? Let's say even if you use credit card, then the credit card itself, if a charge certain percentage, so there's fees that we will collect to support our daily operational. Okay. So this one is on the fiat part, right? So and when we involve fiat to crypto, the exchange portion, there will be certain, the charges that we're going to charge to the users, and due to, we will also have to handling on the liquidity management and the hedging, etc. So that's why this will be the two main parts that we are covering.
Got you. So,
Mm-mm.
can you tell me more? Can you tell me more about how is what is your current transactional volume right now on your
Oh,
platform?
okay. Basically we are so-called integrated with some big player in the markets. I would say that the volume is big, compared to the on and off-ramp providers, in the markets. We are considered the top, performance right now. Yeah.
So it's growing, right?
Yeah, it's growing rapidly. Yeah, and I mentioned, right, that there's more and more demands came in, and we are actually, opening up more and more clients, customize, because our strong point here is we're able to customize, based on what our partners need, right? So and compared to maybe other player in the market, I'm not saying uh, uh, I mean, in general, they might just focus on providing a very general API integration or maybe redirect models, right? So the entire user experience might not as seamless as us. So we are more focusing on help them to customize, help them to solve the problems. Like for example, even there's some players saying that, hey, can OSL Pay provide cross-border, like I mentioned just now, right? So we will, based on their so-called scenario and work fund flow, right? Then we can suggest them, how we can seamlessly, using our framework, be more compliance way of doing the business. Then we'll design the product for them, and then we'll launch together with them. So this is how OSL Pay, able to play a part in this on off-ramp uh, nature of business.
I have more few questions regarding the market, the current landscape of on-off ramping, service providers. I mean, there are a bunch of them out there. There are pretty much, most likely many more out there in different
Mm-mm.
regions. They're from different backgrounds. Some of them from, traditional like banking backgrounds. There are some of like more Web3 native players out there. What is your advantage compared to all the other players?
Or you mean about our uniqueness and also the value proposition, is it?
Exactly,
For us, is it?
exactly, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I think like I mentioned just now, right? So okay, yeah, they do have a lot of players outside the market. And how we can uniquely identify ourselves between them here is Firstly, like I mentioned earlier, we will be able to customize our solutions, I mean, based on the client's needs. So we are not just purely providing a very general kind of integration with them. No, okay, yeah, this is my API documents, please integrate. That's all. So, but we will really understand their pain point, their problems, then we will iron out and then how we could serve them better, how we can streamline their product roadmap, how we can support them in terms of whatever, let's say for example they're in certain market, they would like to say, hey, can OSL Pay help us to increase the conversion rate? So how we could onboard more users using the real, then we will hand holding together with them and then offering them more customizable solution. I think this is some things that uniquely what we could provide, compared to other providers. Yeah. And
Yes.
definitely, like mentions, right? Oh, sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, no,
Yeah,
go ahead.
like I mentioned, definitely because this industry, I would say that the on and off ramp is competitive, yes, but then there's also a lot of challenges and pain point, for these on and off ramp providers. So like I mentioned earlier, in order for us to develop and build this entire framework is actually quite I mean the entrance of the entrance of barrier is actually quite high. So and in the market itself, like for example the regulators especially, they will be worrying about the money laundering issue, right, at the AML. So because especially when the crypto interact with the traditional money, right? So that's why a lot of bank and also the payment providers still don't really fully understand crypto. Okay, so that's why they are nervous about compliance risks and their own reputational, right? So because of that, so many those kind of like banks or providers, they just simply refuse to work with the crypto businesses, right? Even a licensed one like us. Okay, so that's why like I mentioned, even if you are licensed, so getting banking support is way harder, than in traditional industry. So you have to, prove you can handle everything. So AML check, KYC, I mean the transaction monitoring, risk control, liquidity management. There's a lot of puzzles that you have to fill up, right? So basically, it's a full compliance framework that you have to develop and build. So there's a lot of on and off-ramp providers, they might not look into that very seriously. So, but we, the OSL Pay, we really iron out and look into this part very, very seriously because we want to have a sustainable business. And that's why, like our responsible is actually quite heavy because we are bridging the crypto and fiat, right? So you're basically a gatekeeper. So once the money move on chain, also it's actually quite hard to track, right? So the regulators expected you have a strong control. So both the deposit and withdrawal portion, especially involving the crypto to fiat to crypto. So you need to verify where the funds coming from and makes nothing shady, true, right? So that's why we really need to work closely with all the different regions regulators, and to build the very strong foundation with and also the controlling part, and this is how maybe from our side here it's a bit different with others because we our ambitions here is to cover globally, right? So that's why every single regions we will have to look into that very very carefully and details. Yeah, and so that the partners that integrate with us also can be long lasting. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's very structured answer to hear. For me,
Mm-mm.
I like to use the structure of for every business you have two axes. So basically, you have a vertical axis and you have a horizontal one. As for the horizontal
Mm-mm.
one, it's more like different use cases, right? Different regions, physical regions, and different use cases. And as for the vertical one, you have like it's up to you whether you decide to vertically integrate all the suppliers that could be part of the supply chain to provide a better service and product for your users. So let's talk about the vertical. Let's talk about the horizontal integration first. So you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned a lot of use cases and also emerging regions. What are the ones that keeps you most excited about use cases?
Mm, the use cases about the emerging market, do you mean that?
Yeah, either it could be a use case or it could be an emerging market that you are seeing. It can be from your customers, right? And it can also be somewhere, out of your customer pool, but you're also very excited about.
Okay. Let me see. I think maybe we can talk about some of those like cross borders solutions that we introduce. I mean we are preparing right now. So like for example uh the the cases, let's say the traders, for example, right now traditional TradFi models, right? So they will be like for example the exporter and also the importer cases, right? So what we call the cross-border solutions. Okay, so sometimes based on what our nature of the traditional cross-border solution is, usually they will take the very typical role, which is using the Swift, right? What we call the Swift network. Okay, so the Swift network, basically it will take a very long period. Like for example, let's say you want to transact the money from, I don't know, then it might have to gone through there will be no direct, Sing dollar to BRL kind of like the real that you can handle. So basically, we might have to via the correspondent bank, okay, like the US dollar correspondent bank. So like Singapore bank have to be a partner with the US dollar correspondent bank, and US dollar correspondent bank might also have to redirect to a different correspondent bank which is can handle the BRL, right? So that's why the real might be have to go through multiple layer of the correspondent bank. So sometimes the entire real, it might take up like, I don't know, T+3, T+4, you know, like what I mean here is like 3 to 4 days. Even there's cases, if let's say gone through multiple layer of correspondent bank, they might have more question to ask. Then they have to send the message via the Swift network, to the particular bank and ask more to collect more documents. So that's why the whole chain is firstly very costly, very slow, right? And also I would say that maybe when the fund reach to the receiver, it might take ages, right? So then this is not very efficiencies. Okay, so in this case, we want to solve the problems. So that's why we introduce the cross borders using a stable coin. Okay, so we were just handling on the off ramp portion. So we have both locally partners with the sender part, to handle on the local currency to the stable coin, right? Then the other part also we will handle on the receiver part, which is also from a fiat from crypto to the fiat. So in between, then we will use cross the stable coin to transact. Okay, so the stable coin transact, it will be by, I don't know, in second or minutes, right, to complete the whole transactions. So I mean the receiver will be happy because they can receive the fund instantly, and also we are building this on top of a very regulated framework, and both sender and receiver is also happily receive a fund, and then the whole transaction process will be more effectively, at efficiency, right, from both sides. I think this is some things that we can see in the coming future that allow us to be, the excitement is there because we can typically change the entire so-called uh, the process which is have been conducted for many years, in the traditional industry, right? So from there, I think some things that we might able to invite more and more Web 2 players, to solve these cross-border issue problems. And especially this is also quite um, uh, very useful for those emerging market as well, because this is typically their pain point of their minor currency, which is they have gone through multiple layer of the correspondent bank rerouting issue.
Okay, very, very
Hopefully I'm
interesting.
answering your questions. Yeah.
This is a very interesting use case. So let me just ask a little bit more. Okay, so you just mentioned that you are now able to like help facilitate the Sing dollar and the Brazilian currency. What do you call that? the Brazilian dollar
The BRL.
transaction.
Okay, I'm not mentioning. I'm saying dollar is one of the example that I mentioned. You know, like it could be any currency, right? Then we can handle on the cross-border payment. So typically, the real scenario right now that we are applying is actually Hong Kong dollar to, let's say, European EUR clients, which is we can handle on the cross-border solutions. It's something that we're developing right now. Then will be more and more currency will be supporting in the futures.
Right. So I talked to quite a bunch of PayFi project founders. So I think the value proposition of PayFi basically come from two things, two pillars. First one being that there are way too many intermediary banks along the money flow from Hong Kong,
Yeah,
Hong Kong D to EUR. They're probably going to be 4 or 5 intermediary banks, right?
exactly.
That's bureaucratic. That's that's some old stuff from the Swift system. The
Yeah,
other the
yeah.
other value, the other value proposition could be um, the liquidity shortage of Hong Kong dollar to UR, EUR. And it could be another currency pair, for example, Hong Kong dollar to NAIRA in Nigeria, in Africa.
Correct.
There are some currency parities that needs liquidity, but they don't have that much liquidity from the bank accounts, right? How do you work around the liquidity thing? Like, yes, you could shorten the money flow by, overgoing all these intermediary banks. But what if it comes to your customer requires you to work with them in some small country where the currency itself is a very long tail small currency where the shortage, the liquidity is very, very small. Like, how do you tackle that problem?
Okay. I think this will be case by case basic. You know, like mentioned just now about Nigeria. Earlier we also done some research, and we also building our foundation in Nigeria right now. Not launched yet, but we are into the developing stage, right? So yeah, typically those kind of minor currency, we will need to partners with the local liquidity providers. This is one thing, okay? So because the local liquidity providers, they have already a huge demand in terms of buy and sell, right? Yeah. So I think this is one of the easier way for us to enter into the market by partnering with the local liquidity providers. So typically, will be in the form of, let's say, stablecoin to the local minority currency, the kind of exchange itself. So this is one of the model. But if, let's say, we talk about in Turkey, for example, right? So you might able to build a very comprehensive liquidity framework. Let's say you could actually connect, your liquidity with the traditional money market like FX money market. So you will have to manage your own fund hedging, by yourself, right? So and at the same time, you might also collaborate with multiple business streams so that the fund is not only the cross borders, but you have to build the you have to build your own customer base. You have to build your own liquidity. If let's say you want if let's say you want to seriously enter into the market, by yourself, or else then you have to partner with the local players to actually join their liquidity together to serve the clients. Yeah. So that's why I would say the different market we will have a different customized solutions. So in certain market, let's say that the market is actually is the dollar restriction country, then will be more challenging. Yeah, then you might have to find a way, to work with the local financial service providers, even talk to the regulator to find out the for those major currency. I think it's quite straightforward. No, I think it's not really a big problem. But what we are what the pain point of the providers is basically on the emerging market, the minor currency.
Yeah, I agree. I think um, sourcing liquidity is a never-ending game, and as long as you build the infra, the
Yeah,
network is
never ending
engaged,
game.
right? The point is you
Correct,
should
correct.
do the network right now and just connect everybody. Okay. I asked this
Mm-mm.
to like basically everyone in this industry that if you pay attention on X, I think a few weeks ago, the founder of AirWallex, Jack Zhang, he basically posted about, stablecoin, and he claimed that stablecoin is just another rail for companies like Stripe and AirWallex. It's not that of a big deal. What do you think of his comment?
Not a big deal, meaning that, he doesn't look in, I mean, not extremely support in terms of the stablecoin, or what?
I think
Sorry. Yeah.
is like if you have paid attention
Or
to
maybe is it mentioned is extremely competitive, or how?
I think for the Web2 players like AirWallex and Stripe who have raised a huge amount of capital, they are like number one, pretty condescending on the Web3 innovations. They think
Yeah.
they are the
Mm-mm.
ones they can solve the cost efficiency problem pretty well. Why do we need stablecoin in first place?
Yeah.
Second thing is I think is probably we do need a very strong, very, very strong use case to convince these people, that stablecoin is indeed probably, way better than the traditional way of payment. Um, but I think, it's still like apt for people to find because we were still like, looking for the best use case for stablecoin in real life, not just for cryptocurrency speculation and cryptocurrency trading. Um, have you actually seen any of your customers who are using stable coins to deal their like real trade in real life? Have you ever like have you ever came across such use case?
Um, okay, like for example, recently what we heard among our ecosystem, right? So those real use cases, I think 1 year ago, the Thai government also launched the so-called, I mean, like there's one stablecoin project that they're partnering with the Singapore. I mean, they also one of the stablecoin providers, in the markets. So typically, the programs that is being launched is like using the Thai baht stablecoin, right? They can, I mean, for those travelers, they can come. I mean, when they visit Singapore, maybe they will able to scan and pay, using a stablecoin instead. Then they will handle on the I mean, so-called the conversion between the Thai baht stablecoin versus the Singapore stablecoin, right? Then it will be very easier for the travelers, no need to change that big bucks of the Sing dollar, or maybe using the credit card, because the credit card is also charged a very high amount of the cross-border fee, right? So with the stablecoin solutions that introduce, then it will be quite easier for the users to actually make the payment, even overseas. So I think this is one of the cases that I heard. I think recently there's also I think Bhutan side, right? Bhutan, Binance is also launched the Binance Pay in Bhutan. I think they're also partnering with the Bhutan government, especially for those travelers. If they want to visit Bhutan, they also can use so-called stablecoin or crypto, as a payment to actually like make the payment, right? Then behind the backbone, then I think that there will be a clearing house for them to set to receive the local fiat currency, to all the merchants. I think it's some things that I would say um, uh, the transformation from because previously like USDT, and I think we all know that USDT is always used as a form of tradings, right? So and right now you can see that the market is actually kind of like lean to the how we could seamlessly, to actually make the payment, right? To solve the problems that I mentioned just now, like the cross-border issue problems. So and it's actually it's already leaning to the stablecoin use it as a payment, scenario. So to me, I'm quite optimistic if let's say stablecoin right now, as of now, that link to the payment sectors is something that we are quite optimistic about these directions.
Right, right. Um, let's talk
Mm-mm.
about stable coins because you mentioned, a lot about stable coins. It's almost, impossible to not talk about stable coins when you talk about crypto payment.
Yeah.
So, do you like which stable coins do you work with? Do you integrate with right now? And which ones do you think are going to win the game? Going to be the like let's say top three
Mm.
stable.
Okay. Okay. Uh, I think right now the big boy, right? Tattle, circles, right? Those is a big boy in the market. I would say that they already dominated, and typically, I mean, USDT and USDC, it will be the players that we are working with right now. But like for example, if you talk about the compliance regimes, like in Europe, right? In Europe, they have a the regulations is only allowing the authorized stablecoin players to be circulate in the markets, right? So that's why, let's say to serve the European clients or users, then definitely the USDC or maybe those authorized stablecoin that will be the one that we're going to partner with. So and we are also observing, because compare, I think Tether and Circle. Tether is still uh, quite popular among the traders, circulate in the markets, right? So then we have to observe, how the compliance roadmap, from the Tether side, right? Then from there, then we will see how we could collaborate closely, with them. But officially, actually, we are working closely with Circle in certain regions, and because those is being recognized and authorized by the local regulators. Yeah. And then if let's talk about other uh, stablecoin players in the market, I would say that is really more into the what is the scenarios that imposed, right? Let's say for example, StratX in Singapore. So I think in Singapore only two recognized stablecoin players, right? I think StratX and also the Pet Source, right? And StratX, they are linked very closely with the payment mechanism, the payment rail. So that's why they use a stablecoin, that connected also closely with all the banking infrastructure that they have. So that's why will be easier for those, let's say even the exchanges, Web2 players or whatever, that if they want to tap on with the stablecoin, sorry, I mean like the local payment rail and then convert to the stablecoin and process different kind of like scenario, then they can use that solutions itself because this stablecoin is being recognized by the MAS, right, and also closely connected to the banking rail. So that's why this is kind of like the next um, uh, uh, so-called very classic example. People in the globally, they will always like connect this stablecoin with the banking rail and offer to the partners globally. Yeah, these kind of things will be jurisdictory, like let's say whether in Singapore, whether in Europe, they will issue their own stablecoin. Then we will look carefully, and then we will partner with those kind of like local players. Yeah, that their stablecoin is being approved and authorized by the regulators. Yeah.
Right. Do you think it's possible to see Hong Kong dollar and CNH on the blockchain very soon as well?
I would love to see this kind of like stablecoin in the market, definitely. Yeah. So whether or not by when, I have no idea. Hopefully soon, since the Hong Kong, I think I think the Hong Kong regulator side is also very aggressively, would like to push this act to be, launched in the market, right? So happy to see that, and I think in couple of months, hopefully, things will be getting clearer, since the act is only releasing, I think 2 months ago, roughly. So there's a lot of big players is also start involving in this so-called these new stablecoin projects. Yeah, I think we in couple of months time, I think we can see more players came out from this market itself.
Right. Do you think that in the
Mm-mm.
future, every single currency will have its own stable coin, or there are only going to be like a few very important ones? They become so dominant.
I would say that definitely emerging market will actually issue their own stable coin, okay, but it still look into the how they execute it, right? So if let's say the local regulators they look at in this very seriously, and then they have also a very concrete and clear plan on how to use how to apply this stable coin that they are issued, right? Then we can see that the volume and the participant will be getting more and more, right? But those is very depending on each regional country or regulators how they apply their own stablecoin. And definitely their stablecoin have to be connected to the global liquidity so that then this connection connected to the global stablecoin like the major currency like dollar or euro, then will be more acceptable. The acceptance rate will be higher. I think this is something that right now I think different country regulators is actually working closer together. But still, in short, the major currency like dollar, EUR, those kind of player is still will be the in short term to mid term wise is still the one that dominate the whole markets.
Right, right. I like your input.
Mm-mm.
Right.
Mm-mm.
About OSL Pay, so it
Mm-mm.
currently I think it's associated with the OSL group, the parent company, right? Do you have
Yeah.
plans to fundraise on your own in the future? Do you have plans for the market, for the capital markets in the future, or this is still, you know, not a priority right now?
At the moment, no. Yeah, because I think we still have sufficient, because our company is also growing quite rapidly. Not at the moment, but because right now what we are doing is to focus to make ourselves more comprehensive, in terms of the regulatory framework that we are building right now across the global. Okay, I think this is one of the main focus, and also to fine tune to develop and also fine tune our existing product and new products, so that we could solve more problems in the world, right? And helping the partners to solve more problems. I think this is something that we'll be focusing right now, and then only we will see how the things goes. Yeah, but this is our core focus in the coming years. Mm-mm.
And tell me more about your team currently. How many people are there in your team, and how do you work with your team? What is the most challenging part in your current daily work?
Oh, okay. Just the OSL Pay alone, we have about 80 to 90, plus people, inclusive, like various of divisions, tech and products is, I would say that, contributing half of it. Yeah, because like mentioned, right, we want to focus more into the product and tech development, right, and ensure the security, ensure, the product, being ironed out nicely. And yeah, we have our own the legal compliance team, we have our ops team, we have our customer support, we have, yeah, treasury management team, etc., etc. Yeah. The challenging part, I was still saying like maybe in terms of the compliance and the regulatory, part is still. I think this is commonly all the pain point for or every regulated exchanges, right? So it's also an ongoing process that we have to be rapidly talk to the regulators, rapidly develop our compliance framework to be more solid. Also rapidly have to we have to be in terms of risk control, everything need to be in shape and different region also have that they have a different requirements and keep on changing, right? So because like I mentioned earlier, the regulator itself also trying, I mean, it's also quite new to them that they are developing or also improving, by their own. Sometimes they have some new idea, new thoughts, then they will launch the new rules. Then we have to quickly, very sensitively capture and then implement and fine-tune our process and also the products. I think this is some things that before things get stable is some things that we are focusing on right now, combining compliance, regulatory, plus also our product and tech. This is some things that our core focus and also the most challenging part.
Yeah, that's
from our
great.
team.
That's great. I mean, you mentioned it. Like, I talked to a lot of like PayFi founders. They all, like, some of them will say the biggest challenge is growth, is to find the use case. The rest of them all talk about, trading off between user experience and compliance, because, very often that you are working on something that really have a great user experience, but it has issues with the compliance. So you have to sacrifice.
Yeah, you have to get a balance between the compliance and also the business, right? So,
Yeah, that's true. All right. Is there anything else that I have missed and you think should we talk about to our audience? Anything else about OSL Pay, about what you're working on, your new launch? Is there anything else that we should expect for?
mm, okay, not at the moment, but yeah, I think maybe just to stay tuned because the OSL Pay right now we like mentions, right? So we are very client focused. Okay. I think this is what other players also doing, but we also, because we have to, we to ensure that the services that we provide, is sustainable and also the problem solving. I think this is some things that we are focusing on. Okay, and at the same time, while doing so, we also continue develop our framework, okay, and also continue expanding our coverage globally, okay. And I think these are some things that along the way, if let's say the clients that work closely with us, so after integrated with us, then there will be no hurdles because they can just let us to be helping them to expanding the market naturally. Like from our team here, we will help them to launch more and more market. So it will be one-time integration, then continue growing the market covering globally. So this is some things that we could offer, and it's some things that the key value that we're holding right now.
Yeah, yeah. I think we talked much enough about SOPay, and thank you. You've been very practical. You've been very insightful in your answers, and hope to see more and more new launches and new, tries in your products.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hopefully, the information that I bring up is value added, to the audience as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.